welcome back to the Power and Lifting Podcast. I'm your host, Solana Lewis, and today Kristen and I talk about breaking up with your coach. And as coaches, being broken up with is a part of coaching, it's a part of being an athlete. At some point, as a coach, you will have clients who leave. And as an athlete, you might not always have one coach for your entire experience. And so it was a good episode to talk about how to do it respectfully and also reasons why you might leave a coach that have nothing to do with them just being an absolutely bad coach, where it's actually a difficult decision to leave them, but you feel like you need to. And I don't ever think I've heard someone have an episode about this, especially with me and Kristen both having left coaches we were very close to before and having clients who have left us and clients that we felt like we were close to leave. I think it's a good conversation just to hear our perspective on it. So if it's not your first time here and you came back, that means you must like us enough to leave us a 5-star review and a rating, please, on Spotify. If you're on Apple, you can leave a 5-star review, but with no actual words, just the rating. So either app that works, and we appreciate it so much. You've been getting reviews. We appreciate all of them. And let's go ahead and dive into today's episode. Hi.
Hello. How are you feeling?
Why are you stolen?
Shut up. I hate you.
I
knew it too. I was like, the second that she gets on here, she's going to make a comment. Listen, all right, I'm 34 going on 25, and there's only one reason for that, and I will let everyone speculate, okay? Just wonder why there's no wrinkles on this forehead.
I will say, I've always said, like, once I hit like even 30, which is close, my birthday's next week. I'm getting close to 30. Oh my God. I'm getting close to 30.
Oh my God, I remember when I was 30. How cute.
I'm like, I'm getting Botox under these eyes. I have bags.
You don't do Botox under the eyes. You get like,
don't?
No, Botox is for wrinkles.
Well, I don't know what I'm talking about. It's supposed to fix
There's
my eyes.
like, I don't know, you get, I don't know. I don't know. Don't like ask me. I'm not an expert at this. There's some filler that you can get that are supposed to like fix your under eye, but it's not Botox. I know that.
I'm gonna get that. This tells you what I get done so far, which is a facial once every 5 years.
I do my own facials.
Well, I do my own skincare routine, but like legit facial for like the hour of steaming and the like no. Oh.
Yeah, where they pop all your pimples. It's great.
The best. All I do is I do like a little sheet mask for like $1. I'm like, yeah, I did it. Like,
here you go.
Yes. Okay. All right. We are talking about
not Botox.
Not Botox unless you want to, but reasons why you may leave a coach, but not focusing on the obvious stuff we talked about in the past, where it's like if they're not on time, if they respond super late and they're rude, like, but you can have a great relationship with the coach and feel the need to move on.
Yeah. And I've been on both sides where I've left coaches and I've been broken up with, and it's hard. But at the end of the day, it's like, you got to do what's best for you. That's kind of when I decide to leave, or if I've left a coach in the past, you know, it's like, well, what's going to be best for me at the end of the day? And yeah, like you said, I think being late on programs, not sending programs, like those are the obvious, right? Like that's like the minimum standard as a coach, that if someone's paying you for a program, the minimum that you should do is write the program, right?
Like be on time and just do what
and
you
be on time. Yeah, like the minimum standard is to send a program on time and actually have a program, because there's been times where that hasn't happened, where I'm like, can I have your program, please? Yeah, that's like a given, right? Like if a coach is not doing the minimum, then I can totally understand. But I think with you and I, like if you've left a coach in the past, it has nothing to do with like a lack of programming or a lack of knowledge or a lack of like a connection. It's just, you know, you feel like you've grown as a lifter and you need to do something different in order to feel like you're continuing. And who knows, maybe that's even a mistake. You never know. You know, you can be like, oh, I messed up. Sorry. I'm back.
Has that happened to you where someone comes back?
I'm trying to, I feel like they have, I haven't like, nothing specific. I mean, I've had clients come back where they've taken time off. They're like, oh, I'm not in meet prep, so I'm just gonna do my own thing in the off season. And then when a meet comes, they'll come back. But as far as I know, within that time frame, I don't think that they've worked with another coach. And if they did, they just didn't tell me. But I don't think I've had a client who, yeah, at least to my knowledge, has worked actively with another coach and then has come back.
Yeah, saying the closest I've had is like someone was like, I want to try coaching myself. And it says for money reasons, but they really did try to coach themselves. And then they came back like, girl, I can't coach myself. And I was like, it's okay. I understand. It's not, I think it's horrible coaching yourself. For me, at
I
least.
I tried actually going into this prep. I was of the mindset that I was just going to coach myself, and that lasted all of 4 weeks. And I was like, yeah, this is not going to work. And then I reached out to Alfred from Performance, and so he's been uh coaching me and leading into this meet. So yeah, and he's still like, I told him that he put me in timeout because I'm that type of if you know the history of like the way that I come, my background in programming was like a lot of volume at pretty high intensity too. So my standard of like a RPE 8 is probably not an RPE 8. So
Bench
uh
sidelined immediately.
I know. He was like, I'm gonna just normally I do RPE, but I'm just gonna give you some numbers for a while. And then he gave me the program, and I'm like, these numbers are, why are they so low?
And he's like, and this is why.
He's like, this is the art, this is what we're supposed to do. But I mean, it worked out because today I've hit the most I've hit in 2 years.
I saw it was 170.
Yeah.
That's
Which like in the grand scheme of things, I'm like, oh shit, like 60, like watching the other people who are in my weight class competing now, I'm like, yeah, they need shit. But for my, that's my first time hitting that weight in 2 years. I'm excited. I don't, it's like learning to compete against yourself instead of comparing yourself to other people is something that I've learned over the years.
I like it. I like it.
So,
Um, so I will start with a reason why I have left the coach, and
mhm.
one that had nothing to do with I have left the no programming being rude,
So
but
that's
that was a
standard,
downtime.
yeah.
So a reason could be that you've been with them for years, and there's small things they're doing that they kind of take care of that you kind of get sick of. So example, it's not the big stuff, but like if I say, hey, this exercise causes like my knee to flare up, and they're not organized enough to be like, here's a note section so you can note that. I check your notes every week and then I make an adjustment. And then like you keep seeing the exercise show up and you're just like, after the fourth time I've asked you politely to remove it, why can't you just remove it? That's something that I definitely dealt with where there was like no real note section. I would WhatsApp them, like that's their communication form. And like if it was something small, like this causes pain, but like an accessory, it would stay until I would remind them 3 times. But if it was like a main lift thing, like that was always taken care of immediately. So like the small stuff like that can really add up because I'm just a more organized person. And so for me to know that for myself as a coach myself, I don't really need to be told more than once. And it's very rare if I do. And if I do, it's like super like, oh, one time you told me something twice about like a calf raise versus like every single block. I must remind you that the hack squat hurts my knee, that the leg press like is not as good as the belt squat, like stuff like that. So that's something where it's like, did it make me a bad coach? No, because I was still progressing. But and like I knew what to switch it to because I'm just an intelligent person who also a coach. But like I am paying you, so you should literally switch it yourself. Like
Yeah. Yeah. And I definitely can understand that frustration. It's like on both sides too. Because sometimes like I try to be like with clients, they'll text me, right? Like they have my number, like a WhatsApp. And it helps, but can also be hindering at the same time because I'll get sometimes I'll get a text message and it's right when I'm working out. And so sometimes usually I'm like, all right, I'm not even gonna look at it right now because I'm training, but then you always do, because I'm like, I gotta make sure that's nothing, and then maybe it's something like, hey, can you fix this or whatever? And I'm like, yeah, I'll do it when I get home, and there's definitely been times where I'm like, oh, I gotta do that, but then it's like 5 hours later or something, and I'm like, oh. So now I have like a little note section in my phone where, like, if someone says, it's like little reminders, right? Because like that's, I guess, the great thing about technology, or you have these answers, right? You're not like an email once a week, where that's not like the standard of coaching anymore. We're texting. I talk to clients daily. You probably talk to your clients, they text you, they have your phone number, or at least most of them do. And yeah, that can kind of sometimes make things difficult too, because then it's like I have to either remind myself, and if I don't, then they're reminding me. And that's kind of, yeah, as a client, that can be frustrating. So it's like, well, what can I do if they have my number? What can I do that I can write it down so I remember? Because I will forget. Because if there's 5 people that are telling me they need to switch something, like, I'm 100% going to forget. And I think that's a big thing too, is at the end of the day, like, as coaches, we're still human, and I cannot, I've totally messed up before in the past and like have done something. Um, but is it repetitive? Is this something that like was just a one-time thing and you're like, hey, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Or is it like, okay, this is the 5th time this has happened. You know what I
In a
mean?
row.
Yeah.
Like
You're
flip
like,
flop,
all right, come on.
same thing.
Get it together. So these are kind of things that you always have to think about. And even just as a coach, I feel like I'm always learning, always. Even just like, this is something that I started doing recently with having notes, because that was something that I realized, it's like, if I don't write this down, I'm gonna forget. And I don't want to do that. So I'm always tweaking things as far as my coaching and programming goes. What about
Yeah,
you?
one major thing I do, like I did it yesterday. So I had like 5 people have like something tiny to change. It was like change one accessory, or like one girl is right now like has a shoulder pinch that just got here, but she's like a block out. So I'm like, all right, I have to change her SSB swap for tomorrow, blah blah. So I have WhatsApp on my business phone. I have 2 phones because though I don't want to see y'all's names in my phone when I'm training, because I
Oh,
wait to live.
smart. Wait, so you pay for 2 phones
I pay
then?
for phones and it's worth the money. Girl, but I'm the kind of person I'll pay for anything I don't want to do. I pay for my laundry to get done. I'll pay for my house to be clean. Like I'm not even like
Pay
lavish.
for your laundry?
Yeah. Oh, I hate doing stuff I don't like.
Man.
That's the human being I am. So when it comes to the phone, like I had like 5 people yesterday. So I'm like, okay, I can't forget I'm not home right now. I'm not gonna change it right now. So I went in WhatsApp and I marked everything as unread. And so when I went back, I was like, okay, I'll be like, oh yeah, I didn't get to this. I'm like, oh yeah, that's what I had to do. So if you mark it as unread, it's very helpful. Like I said, I've definitely missed small things
Yeah,
before.
it happens.
And but as long as it's not like something major, but again, the main thing is like, is it over and over and over? So that's like a major thing for me. I think another reason why you could leave a coach, some coaches do both game day handling and coaching. A lot of them don't, or if they do, like they might not be local to you, so that's a different story. But if you do have the benefit of having coaches nearby, and you feel like the game day handling is just never like what you want it to be, and it can
Mm,
be simple as like they might make a small mistake, or like you told them what your goal was, because not everyone's goal is like I'm getting first place. Like not everyone can win. You told them what the goal was, or maybe a goal total or something, and like there's always some sort of miscommunication where the goal is like slightly missed. Like that's happened before where I'm like, okay, like we talked about the goals, multiple, and for multiple meets, somehow there's a quote miscommunication and I don't hit my goal, but it's truly error on the coach. Like that's the reason to leave.
yeah.
Because for
That's
me, if I hire you for both,
cool.
I can't handle being like, okay, I don't trust you as a handler, but I also pay you to coach me. Like, see, I'm losing trust in you because like you're not hearing what I'm saying slash writing down via text slash I done screamed it 5 times. Like, so yeah.
No, I've been there. It's frustrating, especially I think for you, because you're a coach yourself and you have standards that you uphold with your athletes. And you feel like, if anything, the person who's coaching you should give you the same uh should care enough the same way that you care. And sometimes when you feel like this person doesn't care as much as you care about your athletes, like that can be hard, you know? And that's definitely the like when I left my previous coach, and you could just tell that he was just burned out from lifting, right? Like or from coaching. He just wasn't into it anymore. You can tell because I'm using an app. I'm not even getting coached at this point. And yeah, I think he was also my game day handler, and there was a huge miscommunication in my attempt selection to the point where it actually cost me a placing
Mhm.
that I wanted. And that, like, I think we talked about it on last week's podcast, like how that broke me. And after that, I was like, nope. And it's hard because I was with him for 5 years, I think, give or take 4 or 5 years. And so at that point, it's like you develop a relationship. We were friends. And so going through that breakup, like, it's hard. And it's like, oh my God, sending that, because I was too much of a little, like, I couldn't do it in his face. I couldn't like have a conversation with him on the phone. I was so scared. I had to send an email because I just was not comfortable. And oh my God, like the anxiety that I had of like trying to move on from this coach was horrible.
Yeah.
So I don't
Um,
know if you've experienced something similar, but just being on the other side, just when not just you needing to move on, but yeah, how do you have that conversation with someone who it's almost easier when they were kind of shitty and didn't give you a program because it's like, hey, you didn't even do the minimum. But when someone who you're friends with, that you're close with, you have a relationship you've been with for a while, that can be a really difficult discussion.
Woo, girl. Okay, so I'll talk both sides. So the most recent coach I left, I told people who were close to me who knew what was going on that I feel like I'm going through a full blown breakup.
Yeah.
I told multiple people that. I was like, I feel like wow, this is what it's like. Just to be clear, TMI, but like I've only ever broken up with someone. I've actually never been broken up with. So I'm like, and even though I was breaking up with this coach and not the other way around, I was like, this one hurts though. Like,
Wait, you've never had a client break up with you?
no, I meant like in my actual love life, and I'm comparing
Oh,
that to a coach. Cause I truly feel like I'm breaking up with a boyfriend or
I was
something.
just saying,
Like
because
that's how close I felt like the years
that's
were
happened to
together.
everyone at that
No, okay,
point.
that'd be crazy.
Okay.
I'm not trying to pretend like I'm like the rose. No, that's wild. But anywho, yeah, like so I had a friend who I talked to the whole situation with, and he really pushed me to do the conversation over the phone but on FaceTime. And I didn't want to at all, but I was like, you know what, I'm gonna push myself to do it because we were together for so many years. And at the end of the day, like we're good friends, we still are good friends and I know they care a lot about me, and they were also very sad about the situation, but they saw it coming. So I was like, let me just push myself to do that because one, I'm gonna see you again at every big meet, actually, at
Yeah.
every single big meet I ever do. But two, like we really are friends that have mutual coaches and friends. So like, I don't want it to be like, oh, the last time I ever spoke to you was a text message where I just ended it. So I'm not against the texting. It's just for me, I my friend really pushed me to do that. And then
Yeah.
to be on the other side when a client leaves. So it can be tough when the client leaves. Um, not gonna lie, for me, it's easy if it's a basic reason. Like for the most part, it's like I'm burnt out and lost interest in the sport. Okay, don't
That's
pay me. Don't pay me because
understandable.
you look like you look miserable through the screen. I can't fix it. I've gotten the I'm pregnant. Great. Like those are easy ones. I've had a couple of like I am gonna move on to a different coach, and it was definitely more so me not having the tools to progress one of their lifts when they start to have a plateau kind of thing. Where like we had a great relationship, they still got stronger overall, and you like I loved working with them, and they loved working with me. So they're truly leaving because they're like, I just think right now you're not the best fit for me, and that one is tough.
Hurts. It
That one,
hurts. Yeah.
man.
Yeah. I'm
You
sorry.
just kind of feel it, like you kind of have to take it. But
Yeah,
honestly, though, those have made me such a better coach because the amount of tools I have in my toolbox now, like the amount of learning education I do now, like I haven't had that happen to me in a while. Like I haven't had a person really leave me because they thought they were the better fit.
yeah,
Even if you had someone leave, like kind of recently-ish, I had someone who came to me. They were recommended by a coach, and the coach that referred them to me, they were gonna work together themselves, but they were really close friends. And the coach was like, we're such close friends. I think it might be a bad idea for us to work together.
yeah,
Came to me for a year and a half. Loved it. Like I mean, to the moon. Great progress. She told me like, yo, I changed her perspective on coaching. Her past coach like wasn't that great, and
yeah.
she just started coaching herself a little bit just because she was inspired by me. She told me all that. It was amazing. And then like recently, as she actually went to the coach who was the friend, because she was like, you know what, I really kind of want to try it now. I think even though we're friends will be fine. And I'm like, okay, like you are leaving me for another coach, but like I accept it. Like we still made great progress. It's not like this is a negative thing, but it still hurts a little, but it's not like, as long as you really give them your all as a coach and you do everything you promised to do, you cared about them and you weren't just like, you didn't know what the hell is going to stronger, so you were just plateaued and just spinning the wheels. Then
Yeah.
at that point, you just accept it.
How do you, when you go through a breakup that hurts, what do you do after?
From a client,
Yeah.
oh, I just reflect. I actually always ask, like, what makes you want to leave?
Yeah.
And when I get those answers that are actually like something I could have done, I learn from it and get better. And that's why as the years have gone on, I get less and less of anything to do with me. And truly it's just straight up them for the
Yeah.
most part now, because I'm now years into coaching, because I keep
Yeah.
learning from every experience.
And that's okay, good. That's something I was gonna ask is like that's what I've been doing is okay, well, what aside from okay, like life happens and you get pregnant or whatever, and you're just no longer in love with the sport, like that's understandable, right? But yeah, when it's someone like I want to move on and I want to try something different and I want to work with another coach, and in your mind you feel like you've been, I thought you've been doing really well. Like why are you leaving me?
And progressing well, you're like, damn, really?
Yeah, like why are you leaving? And those are the ones that like hurt. But then yeah, I think it's always good to just like, okay, well, I want some constructive feedback. Like obviously there's a reason that you feel like this coach may do better, may work better with you. Um, what are things that you feel like could have done differently? And sometimes just having that conversation will help because yeah, it's like, well, okay, this what can I do to make myself a better coach so that something like this doesn't happen in the future, right? For the rest of my clients. Um so that's one thing that I've kind of, yeah, like each person, everyone that I've worked with, I always learn something. Um and so yeah, some hurt a little more than others, I will admit. And I try to be sympathetic because I've had, where I've broken up in difficult situations and how much anxiety I had that I try not to let my emotions, at least like even if I am, not let it show.
Mhm.
Um, because I know that from there, and that's probably a difficult conversation to have too, right? And so the last thing you want is for that coach to lash out. And I've actually had where clients have left, other coaches and they've come and they want to try something different. And they're just like, I'm so scared. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to tell this person. Um, I don't, and I'm trying to like walk them through it on like what
I've
to
been there.
say,
I was there months
how
ago.
to say it. Or there's been like ones where they've have already broken up with their coach and they're like, my coach, like he was pissed and yelling. And I'm like, oh my
That's
God.
horrible. I can't imagine. Like, I don't yell at anybody. I can't imagine yelling at someone who invested in me.
Yeah. Like being that, I don't know. I just like, and I understand because like I said, there's been like some times where I've definitely gotten a little emotional, but I'm at the end of the day, it's like I'm trying to be understanding. I don't want to be that coach who's like, oh my God, yeah, she like don't leave Kristen or don't, she's gonna yell at you and have a hissy fit when she leaves. Like that's also uncomfortable too. So,
Very.
I think being a coach and an athlete is nice because you get the best of both worlds. You know, you understand being what it's like to be the athlete and you can sympathize with your athletes. And then being with a coach and having a coach and I feel like too, as athletes, we tend to like program maybe similar to how our coach did, or coach in a similar fashion than our coach did. So I've noticed too, even as like switching coaches, that like my programming might change a little bit, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And that's also something too that I've noticed. I'm like, hey, that's okay. I that's different, but I like it and it works. And um yeah, I find that my even just my programming will sometimes reflect who I'm working with as a coach.
That's why I think I look forward to from switching is just seeing a different perspective.
Exactly.
I'm already seeing one, and I'm like, this is so interesting. And
Right.
and I'm
Yeah.
asking questions. And for me to switch coaches beforehand, I'm like, are you comfortable with someone who asks a lot of questions? And I'm literally asking how I want to learn. But also for me as a full-time coach, I need a coach who's open to like to essentially if I bring up a problem with one of my athletes, and it's pretty rare that I do it. I won't say rare, but like if I'm like really trying something with an athlete and like something's just not clicking and I've made adjustments, and then I'll be like, okay, you know what? Can I ask you if this is the next adjustment I should make? And if they're not comfortable with that, then I can't work with them because I need a coach who like enjoys helping their athletes who are coaches become better coaches.
Yes.
That's huge for me.
100%. And that's definitely something that that I've kind of learned, especially after leaving my first initial coach. Because since then it's like I've worked with like really great coaches since then. A lot of it has just been like, so I worked with Zach Robinson from Data Driven Strength, and he was awesome. And he actually, technically speaking, broke up with me because he was like, look, he was like in the midst of his PhD and writing his dissertation and doing all his research. And he's just like, I've tried to like hang on to my clients, but I can't, and so I'd still be working with him, had he, had he not left me. But,
But that's so mature, right? To be
but,
like, I really see I can't do this. And I
and
think
this
that
is 100%. And I respect him even more because I feel like there would be some coaches who maybe have a lot going on and they might feel that way, and it's not like he was burned out or anything. I think that he just knew that he had to focus on his PhD. And because of that, he wouldn't be able to give me the quality that he felt like I deserved. Right. And as a coach, I'm like, that's cool. Like, I respect you because there's some coaches who probably would have tried to make it work and been burned out. And then those are the coaches that start not giving in the programs on time
uh,
and getting late. Um, and so I feel like he knew that, you know, I need to take a step back because I don't want to be that coach. And not to say he ever would, but he, at least in his mind, he felt like he couldn't, yeah, give the quality coaching that I deserve. And I respected that. So
yeah,
that's
that's
off,
a
Zach.
we love Zach. No, that's a really good observation that he was able to make and like adjust to. I
Yeah.
think just in general, we're talking about like being both a coach and an athlete. It's the best thing for my coaching business that I'm a competitive athlete in the same sport. I feel like no matter what's going on in the meet, I can relate to my clients so much and they can feel it. Like they're never like wondering if I get what they're going through or when they have anxiety, because it depends on the person. I do tailor how I speak depending on the person, right? Some people need me to pull back a little bit. Most of my clients know I'm real straightforward and I just say it. But I have a couple people where I'm like, I'm gonna still say it, but I'm gonna say it a little different.
Feel a little nice about it. I don't want
About
you to
it.
cry.
Yes. But I feel like the reason why my athletes will like make fun of me for being like blunt as fuck is because they know that I understand it too. And this is how
Yeah.
I get through it. So I'm trying to encourage them. Like I might be like, you have to like stop doing this. Like I might be like literally my client, okay, I have one client right now.
Oh God.
When she competes and she'll get like just really stressed out right beforehand. She's kind of like panicking. Like, I see the panic, and I'll be like, "Listen, if you go out there acting that way, you'll fail. Like just straight, just say it. You're gonna fail. You're clearly picturing failing. I need you to picture being a winner. So you came here to Wednesday." And I feel like not everybody can really just say that, but I'm like, that's what I do. Like, I can't just hold your hand and la la la. Like, you gotta go out there and like act like you are here for a reason, and you have to know that you can hit that weight. Cause I really don't load weights that make no sense. Like, so you know what I mean. I don't load something that makes no sense. Like we talked about it as a some capacity either in advance or just now at the table. So
You
go
at
and
least have an idea of what they're gonna do. And like obviously you can change that as the meet goes on. But yeah, you have a general idea of what they're capable of. And yeah, you're not going in there like,
wow, let's just get the look. Like, nah.
hello.
Yeah, but sometimes I'll talk kind of harsh, but like I just because I understand what you're feeling, and we are on a time schedule. You about to go in 2 minutes, so
You got, I remember, I don't know, I can't tell, I probably failed my third squat multiple times, but I remember like I was always the squatter, right? And so for me, it's like I need that squat, and I knew I could push my squat, well, or I had to push my squat because I wasn't the best deadlifter. I remember missing my third squat and then just being like this, I'm sad. Like the meet's over. It's done. Like in my mind, this is when I'm like, oh my God, I lost. This is done. I'm over this. And I remember my coach being like, Kristen, you still got 6 attempts left. You're not done. You get another 2 minutes to like pout and be upset, whatever. I'll give it to you, let it out, and then get your shit together and finish your lifts. And that was nationals 2018, and that was the year that I won. And it's the girl who had a better deadlift, or typically, I don't even remember, maybe we were neck and neck. And I think she missed her third deadlift, so it's one of those things. It's like, you never know what's going to happen. So just because you miss a lift, like, yeah, it sucks. And maybe you should have picked your attempt a little differently. Who knows? But this is what it is. The meet, I think it's Matt Gary. The meet isn't over till the bar touches the ground
I
or
feel
hits
like
the ground.
everyone says
Is it,
that. I feel
is
like
that's not a Matt Gary thing? Is that just like a
always
general
says it, but I feel
thing?
like now everyone says it. But Gino definitely started it.
Okay. Was it Gino? Oh, Gino.
I
Good
know.
Gino. Miss Gino.
I do want to say, well, I'm lucky. I'm in Jersey, so I see him at every single meet I go to.
Does he live in Jersey?
Yeah. So he's at every single meet I go
Yeah.
to. So one advice I want to give about when you do break up with your coach, I think it's always fair to explain why, even if it's hard. And we kind of already talked about that, but it's just a big tip because as coaches who are good coaches who care about their athletes, we want to learn and grow. And I have had, there's only one time I can think about this where it was years ago, like 2 years ago. One girl, she was actually from Britain? Yeah. She was in England. And she like kind of abruptly left me. Like she did a meet. We talked about the change we're gonna make. She did a whole week of like the new program and then left after that week. Because I was like, wait, you couldn't even dinner after me. Like, that was weird, right?
Yeah.
And she didn't say why at all. She was like, hey, I decided to go a different direction and like never responded. And I was like, hey, okay, I hear you. And that's a choice you have made. Can I please just have an understanding of like why? Because like I just really had no idea. And I think it was because like her bench started to plateau. That's why I think it was. But overall, I just felt like so weird because I was like, you gave no indication this was coming. You didn't ask, like, tell me why, but like, I was always on time. We communicated great. Like, we did 3 meets together. Your total kept going up. So I think it's just bizarre that you like just bluntly
Why
cut
you
me
would,
off as if I did something to you. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like that. That's the only time, like the only time ever I had someone leave. I was like, I really don't appreciate the way you left because you could have just simply responded to my message with one sentence, and I would have been totally fine. But you just left as if I did something to you. So please let them know why. Because like we
Yeah.
had a relationship for over a year. I guess yeah, I guess that's my relationships. We were together for like over a year and a half. So I'm
At
like,
the end of
we
the
got
day,
closer. Like
yeah.
I met your fiance. Man, I met your dog
Heck,
on the
you know,
screen.
all the drama that's going
I
on.
know.
I'm
I'm
like,
like,
you just
can you? I'm a person. Can you just tell me, please? Like, I feel like that's only fair. That's a big tip, y'all. If you're gonna leave a coach and you respect that coach, tell them
tell
very
them
politely
why.
why. And if it has to be a text, you feel uncomfortable, that is fine. The FaceTime, that was the hardest FaceTime I've ever done. So I understand the text message, but please don't just drop off face to earth and like act like you never knew them when they didn't actually do something to you.
Yeah. Or like when they get, I've never had this, thank God, but I've seen it where people like make posts about their coach. Like I'm sure you've seen this with certain coaches. I'm and people are like talking about them. I'm just like, oh my God, I never want to be one of those people that someone's like on their social media, like, don't work with this person. She's horrible. I'm like, oh my God.
Ooh,
Thank God.
that's a fear I have too. I mean, it never happened, but I'm like, I don't know what I need to do for that. But you never know, you get the psychopath client who's just crazy, and you're like, wait, what?
Yeah. I'm like, there's always this like, my goal in life is to like not end up on like a squat mean deadlift or whatever. Like the
That's your whole life goal. If you
I
made it till death
I don't
and
want to
never
end
got
up
that,
on like the social media like powerlifting drama of the week. I just don't want to be that coach or that athlete. You know what I mean? I just want to like kind of just stay under the radar. People know who I am, but like not that much. Just kind of coast by. I don't want no drama.
I hear
So
you.
yeah. So as long as I like stay out there, I think I'm good.
Same. Fingers crossed we never get there. You have any
um,
comments?
what's that?
Any other comments about leaving the coach or being left?
Uh I think like we talked about, yeah, just I mean, on a coach's perspective, on if someone's gonna leave me, I'd want to know why. What can I do to be better? Especially if you feel like it's something that I was or wasn't doing that made you feel like you needed to move on. Like I want to know so that that doesn't happen again.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if I'm leaving a coach, as yeah, the person, I want to feel comfortable enough. Like if there's ever a moment where I'm like, I don't want my coach to yell at me, like you should probably have left that coach
Mm-hmm.
yesterday. If they're gonna yell at you for leaving, um, that can be an issue. And I've totally have like gotten emotional at certain, like with maybe one client where I was kind of really bummed that she left me. And not that I like yelled at her, but you could tell that I was kind of emotional. And then like a few days later, I sent a message like, hey, that was kind of a little aggressive. I apologize. I just loved having you as an athlete and it hurts, right? So I have one time apologized to an athlete for being sad that she left me.
Yeah, we are human beings, but it was
Oh,
really big of you to look
heartbroken.
at.
It's
Yeah,
sad.
hard. I'll say what you told me recently.
Okay.
I was so sad to leave this coach, but you were like, you have to do what's best for you, and your reasoning makes full sense. And at the end of the day, it was something that happened more than twice. So, and like you communicated with them, and it still unfortunately happened. So they
Yeah.
may care about you, you may care about them, and leave respectfully, but like you have to make the choice and do what's best for you. And that was big for me to hear because I was like, you're right, because there comes a point where like I'm investing in this person, but I'm like feeling like I don't want to right now. So then why am I paying for it? Like,
And once you have that mindset, I feel like coaching and programming, like it's all going to go downhill because once you start having doubts with a coach, it's like whatever they give you or they're telling you to do, you're going to have that doubt in the back of your mind. You're not feeling confident in me. It's like this perpetuating, like it's not going to end anywhere good. So, you're better off just cutting it on a high note and then leaving it there so you can say, hey, this person was a great coach. I
yes.
just I needed to move on, as opposed to staying because you're afraid to leave, having these doubts. And once you do, I swear it's like your performance just kind of
And you're resentful, and by the time you leave, you're like, F this
you're
cup,
like, fuck
man,
you.
fuck.
Fuck.
That is really important.
I've never been blocked. I had my old coach block me. I'm still blocked, by the way.
Jeez.
But I
I
think
don't
that was because I left and he was not happy.
think I've been blocked. I've had a client leave where, and I was like happy. You get those times where you're like, we weren't
Oh,
really,
there's some that I'm like, thank God.
and think yes, and like I want to unfollow, but because I know they're dramatic, I just mute.
Oh,
That's close enough as anything. I'm like, let me just mute you, but I like to unfollow you, but I don't want no smoke, no problems. Like I fulfilled my duties, and I want to just move on. Like,
moving on. So we have a really exciting guest next week.
I'm super excited about the guests, and I'm excited about just the fact that we still have more IPF Worlds to watch because I've been loving it.
So got 2 more days.
2 more days.
Yeah.
It's Friday, so we
I'm
got.
about to go watch Copa America because
Oh,
I'm a football fan now, and not American football,
yep.
football, football.
I remember I had to always call it that because one person who I was seeing, like he called it football, and he was from Jamaica, but like
Yeah.
also lived in England at one point, so he was always calling it football. I was like, fine, I guess I'll succumb to calling it football.
Yeah. I'm used to it at this point. I have a client from Saudi Arabia, and yeah, we always talk, like, he does powerlifting, but not competitively. He just likes to lift, and but he plays football, and we always have these like conversations, like we do have like a weekly meeting, and yeah, like the whole conversation is about football, so now I'm like a football fan.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. Thank you for listening.
In
Good
the
time.
powerlifting.
Yes. We will catch y'all next week.